Hi, I'm Angelique Minette, and I'm the Ishkote District Roundtable Commissioner. All right, here we go. Prepare yourself. We're going to get started now. All right. Scout salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. The Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Outdoor code. As an American, I will do my best to be clean in my outdoor manners, be careful with fire, be considerate in the outdoors, and be conservation-minded. From on board the International Space Station, happy 110th birthday, Boy Scouts of America.
All right, now if you prepare yourself for a prayer, Tom Courtney.
O great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the winds, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear me. I come before you tonight for your strength and wisdom, for all who lead and take part in the scouting program, be guided by it. Take charge, great Spirit, over the lives of our scouts. Be here as we gather, and be with each of us as we part and go our separate ways. Amen.
Amen. All right, so we are now at the info minute, and we have got a lot for you this month, which is exciting because we've had months of nothing, so it's super fun. All right, the big one that everyone is probably aware, hopefully by now, is that we as units are allowed to camp again as long as the guidelines are followed. Those guidelines are posted on Rainbow Council's webpage. However, I'm going to go over them real quick right now. Your chartered organization must send an email stating that they are authorizing the unit to begin overnight camping. And this email needs to be sent to the Council Commissioner, Diane Klopfer. It has to come from your charter organization rep. It cannot come from your Cub Master. It cannot come from your committee chair. It has to come from your charter organization rep. And Esmeralda is going to type Diane's email address into the chat box so that you have that handy if you don't already. All camping participants have to have their medical AB forms on file with the unit. And remember, they are new this year, so they are different than the ones you had last year. So make sure you get the right ones. They say 2020 on the bottom of them. All campers have to stay in individual tents spaced at least 6 feet apart. Families can share a tent if desired. However, YPT guidelines still need to be followed. So at the Cub level, it's not so much of an issue, but it is at the Scouts BSA level with adults and kids. Also, no cabin camping right now. Cabin camping is not allowed because you can't separate each other for sleeping. All food preparation and dining must be separate, adhering to social distance guidelines of 6 feet of separation, no sharing cookware or utensils or food. The only exception would be if you're there with your family, you can share your utensils and food with and among your family. If you are not sure if your food ideas for your unit follow these guidelines, then run it past your commissioner or Diane or Ez or I, and we can help you figure that out. When eating, stand 6 feet apart, stay 6 feet apart from each other unless you're in a family. Masks still have to be worn at all times unless you're eating or in your tent. Restroom facilities need to be sanitized regularly, and units should make sure there are soap and disposable paper towels for hand washing. And finally, camping participants will have their temperatures taken and logged in the morning and the evening for each day of the outing, with unit leaders retaining the log. If you have any questions, please ask. Very exciting though that we get to do some camping again. Next, we have Ishkote District Executive Jennifer Sewell is leaving Rainbow Council staff to take another job. She's done an amazing job improving scouting for our council, especially with Cub Scout Day Camp. And we congratulate her and we'll miss her greatly and wish her well. In the meantime, Dan Stromberg is going to serve as the interim district executive for Ishkote. Ishkote, if you remember, if you're not sure, it's generally south of 80 is the way to remember that. Baloo for Cub Leaders was canceled due to low enrollment. There was one person registered, and unfortunately, one person is not enough to run it. Make sure you register before the cutoff date to keep programs running, because the thing that's probably the most frustrating for the training committee is having, after we cancel it, 3 or 4 more people say, oh, I just hadn't registered yet. Those cutoff dates are there for a reason. Make sure you sign up if you need to take something. Remember, you have to have at least one Baloo trained scouter at all overnight camping events for Cub Scouts. That's a requirement. Den Chief training for Scouts BSA has also been canceled due to low enrollment, but Den Chief training is available online. IOLS, Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills. This is for Scouts BSA. It is running October 17th and 18th. There are 19 people registered. Scoutmasters and assistant scoutmasters need IOLS to be position trained. This is also a great course, however, for Webelow and Arrow of Light Den leaders, especially if you're planning on crossing over with your scout to the troop level soon. So it's good to get that out of the way now. JODA, Jamboree on the Air, is October 17th, outdoors at Theodore Marsh in Crest Hill from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. There is going to be a link dropped into the chat box where you can register. You do not register through Council's main page. You are going to need to register through the link that's either here or in Facebook. JODA is the largest scouting event in the world and allows scouts to experience amateur radio to link scouts in the community, nation, and world. Registration, like I said, is right there in that link and is necessary this year to make sure that we have socially distanced crowd control. If you're registered for, if your unit is registered for Scouting for Food, bag pickup is October 21st by appointment. Fundamentals and Training is coming up. Fundamentals and Training, I know when I started, I had no idea what that was and didn't think it was for me. Fundamentals and Training is for adults or youth. It introduces teaching techniques and skills to new scout trainers, regardless of their experience or position, and will help both youth and adult leaders learn the BSA's training techniques. It's valuable for any leader, but required for anybody who wants to become a trainer. It will be held on November 28th, and you can register on Council's website. Recharter is coming. I saw in registration a few people who were already asking questions about Recharter. Last month we did go over a little bit about the costs, but next month is your month to be here at Roundtable, because we're going to go over a lot of the Recharter information next month in November. But I can tell you right now, Recharter this year is 100% online. You cannot do it by paper this year. Don't worry, we'll have people that you can come in and have help you out if you're not comfortable doing it online, but it is online. Scouting Open House is coming up on the 18th from 3 to 6 at the Service Center. This is something that you can send people to who are interested in scouting, and there's a heritage hike and there'll be events. And then finally, YPT. We are coming up on the 2-year mark for the new YPT training that came out, meaning many leaders are expired. I checked my own unit, it was a hot mess. Friendly reminder that you cannot recharter adults with expired YPT. So you'll be trying to do your recharter and it's gonna fail for those that their YPT is expired. Adults with YPT violations also don't count as your 2-deep leadership. So if you're on a camping trip and one of your leaders doesn't have YPT that's up to date, that's not good, guys. So if you're not sure, check my.scouting.org. And if you're not comfortable getting online for that, can't figure that out, your key 3 of your unit can also run a YPT report for your whole unit on the same website, and you can check all your leaders all at once. And that has been your Info Minute. Any questions? All right, then I'm going to turn it over to Ez, and we're going to talk about the Scout Law Point for today.
Our Scout Law for this month is brave. A Scout is brave. That doesn't mean bravery is something you're born with. You can train yourself to face emergencies with courage. This comes directly from the Weeblos Handbook. So something to really think about and discuss with your units at the Cub Scout level about what brave really means. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are brave, you know, with different scenarios, but you know, to be brave to speak up, to be brave to take on a leadership position, to be brave to combat their fears. And so this is a great time to enforce that whole brave issue.
Next, we have the Leader Knot, and the Leader Knot this time is the NESA Outstanding Eagle Scout Award. I have never heard of this one, but now I have now. The NESA Outstanding Eagle Scout Award was established during the 100th anniversary of VSA in 2010. It was created to recognize notable Eagle Scouts that have not met a 25-year tenure as an Eagle Scout for the Eagle Scout Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. It is a local, state, or regional level award. Often worthy candidates for this award have inspired others through their actions and have devoted a lifetime to their profession, avocation, community, and beliefs at great sacrifice to themselves and their families. Haven't we all? The selection of recipients is made by the local Council NESA committee, Scout Executive, and Council President. Each recipient's actions and accomplishments should elevate the stature of the Eagle Scouts in the public eye. So it is very distinguished award. All right, then we go to Ez.
It's the BSA Emergency Preparedness Award. And this is an award when emergency does occur. It can affect every BSA youth and adult member in the immediate area. This award allows all Scouts and Scouters to become informed, be prepared, and act promptly and appropriately in the event of emergencies, whether they are natural or man-made. Scouts and adult leaders can earn the Individual Emergency Preparedness Award. Meanwhile, units, districts, and councils can work towards earning the bronze, silver, or gold achievement level. Individual or bronze, silver, or gold awards are available at Scout shops once requirements for the awards have been met. The pin may be worn on civilian clothing or on the uniform centered on the left pocket flap. There are different requirements depending on what rank you are. We have some for bears as well as the Scouts BSA requirement. The form is shown on what it looks like. So as you are filling out the information, please do not forget to get the appropriate signatures before turning in the application.
To the council office.
Yes, sorry, council office.
All right.
Code of conduct. Scouters Code of Conduct. So, which kind of leads to a lot of things that we're going to be talking about today. The Scouters Code of Conduct stems from the Scout Oath. Let's remember, on my honor, I promise to do my best to comply with this Boy Scouts of America Scouter Code of Conduct while serving in my capacity as an adult leader. This Code of Conduct is not just for the youth, but as well as for the adult leaders. So this is something that anyone can use to help any new leaders that are coming up. Part of that conduct
on your application when you sign.
Yes.
So you're agreeing to this when you sign.
So just to make sure, it's like you have and will comply with your registration, answering all questions truthfully and honestly. Do your best to live up to the Scout Law and the Scout Oath and Scout Law, obey all laws and hold others in Scouting accountable for those standards. Very important. Exercise sound judgment and demonstrate good leadership and use this scouting program for its intended purpose, consistent with the mission of the Boy Scouts of America. You will make the protection of the youth a personal priority, complete and remain current with your youth protection training requirements, and be familiar with the following: the BSA Youth Protection Policies and Guidelines, and mandatory reporting, the Guide to Safe Scouting, and the Sweet 16 of BSA Safety, which we have hyperlinks to. Especially with transporting scouts, obey all laws, comply with youth protection guidelines, and follow safe driving practices. Will respect and abide the rules and regulations of BSA policies and BSA providing training, including but not limited to relating to unauthorized fundraising activities, advocacy on social and political issues, including prohibiting use of the BSA uniform and brand, bullying, hazing, harassment, and unlawful discrimination of any kind. You will discuss or engage in any form of sexual conduct while engaged in the scouting activities. You will not, sorry. You will refer scouts with questions regarding these topics to talk to their parents or spiritual advisor. Lots of information. You confirm that you will fully disclose and will disclose in the future any of the following instances: criminal suspicion, charges, or convictions of a crime or offense involving abuse, violence, sexual misconduct, or any misconduct involving minors or juveniles. Any investigation or court-ordered involvement in domestic violence, child abuse, or similar manner. Any criminal charges or convictions for offensive involving controlled substances, driving while intoxicated, firearms, or dangerous weapons. You will not possess, distribute, transport, consume, or use any of the following items prohibited by law or in the violations of the scouting rule, regulation, and policies: alcohol, beverages, or controlled substances, including marijuana. Concealed or unconcealed firearms, fireworks, or explosives. Pornography or materials containing words or images inconsistent with scouting values. If you are taking prescription medications with the potential of impairing my functioning or judgment, I will not engage in activities that would put scouts at risk, including driving or operating equipment. And you will take steps to prevent or report any violations of this code of conduct by others in connection with the scouting activities. Lots of information, but very important to keep in mind.
One thing especially to note is that you are not allowed to participate in politics while you're acting as a scouting leader. So you may not wear your uniform and hold up a sign for whatever candidate you're voting for. You can participate in a flag ceremony, just so everyone's aware, but then after the flag ceremony, you need to leave and take off your uniform if you're going to continue to stay. Just something that might come up. All right, did we have any other questions about this? And I can't see right now because I'm screen sharing.
Someone put down to encourage YPG training as soon as possible. The server does get full near the end of the year, making it difficult to complete.
This is true. If everybody waits, it bogs down. All right. Moving onwards, we're going to talk today a little bit about succession planning. There is a quick guide online called Selecting Cub Scout Leadership that is very helpful, and it recaps a lot of what we're going to talk about today. But we'll get started. Why do we want a succession plan? So good succession planning ensures that a pack doesn't fail simply because a leader had to move or a leader crossed over into the troop. We've all been there. But we need to figure out how do we identify potential leaders? And there's a few things that we can do. Hold on, let me pull my notes. But what characteristics are we looking for in a potential leader? I'd like you guys to unmute yourselves if you're willing and start chiming in about what are some things we look for in an adult leader. Gonna make it awkward. Not gonna talk to someone. Add something.
Available.
Available, that's a good one.
Reliable.
Reliable, excellent.
Scouters that live up to the Scout Oath and Scout Law.
Yes, that's a big one. That's a big one. Okay, so how do we find and engage these kind of people? I know some of us have some tricks for it, and this is where we want to share. How do we find and engage those people?
It's whoever picked the short straw.
Anyone? So one of my favorite techniques is to ask small asks of families in my units. Ask small asks and see how families respond to it. See how people respond to it. If you say, hey, can you bring the snack for next week? Or hey, can you run this activity? And if they're the kind of person who does it, but they don't do it well, then maybe it's not the person you want to really pursue. But it might be someone who is like, yeah, absolutely, I'm a little nervous about it, but I'll do it. And that's a good way to start fishing for people that might be potential leaders. Does anyone have any other ideas? Okay.
I typically look for parents who had scouting experience when they were a youth, either in a boys or a girls program, and you know, they'll tell you a story. Oh, I remember doing this when I was a kid, or whatever. And then those are the people that you do the things that you just talked about, like, hey, can you bring the snack for, you know, and you kind of slowly bring them in.
Yeah, exactly. You definitely want to look at parents, but other things to consider is grandparents sometimes love to be involved and have more time than parents do. Also unit alumni, so maybe their kids are all grown up and they still feel really strongly about scouting. We definitely have some of those in Rainbow Council who are willing to come back and help. The other question is, when do we want to start looking for potential successors on a timeline? Anyone have any idea? When's the best time to start looking?
As soon as possible.
Yeah, as soon as possible. Yep. The thing that BSA says is to look potentially about a year ahead. So if you know that you're going to be leaving, you're going to want to look for your successor about a year ahead. I honestly think you should start looking as soon as you take a position. Start identifying who can help you, who could potentially take it over, because the last thing you want to do is wait until you're leaving to try and find your successor. That's how units have trouble. All right, also use those parent talent surveys. Who's used a parent talent survey? Sometimes you'll find someone who's got some hidden talents and they may be willing to become a leader. Say they're an accountant in real life and maybe they want to be your new treasurer. So definitely use those parent talent surveys. Okay, so after you've identified a bunch of people, you need to create your list. So this is up to your PAC Key 3 and or committee. Sometimes your PAC Key 3 works together and then presents their list to the full committee. Sometimes the full committee works together to put together a list of potential leaders. Then like I said before, you're going to want to think outside the box, because sometimes you'll find grandparents or alumni or even charter members, sometimes depending on your charter, may be willing to help out. But put your list together, and this should be anyone that you think it has potential. And then if anyone feels very strongly about some person not being at that list, this is when you figure it out. The next thing is the personal ask. So the personal is in bold and underlined because personal is a big deal. You need to ask in person. Don't ask by phone, don't ask by email, ask them heartfelt in person. Say, I think you would be great at this job because, and give them the reasons why. Ideally, you should include a friend, someone that the person you're asking is familiar with, especially if you don't know them too well. So bring someone else from your unit that knows them better and say, we would like you to consider this. Make sure you bring an accurate printed position description. So let them know exactly what the job entails. Be honest and specific about the time commitment. If you say it takes 1 hour a week, but you're actually spending 6 hours a week on it or 12 hours a week on it, you need to let them know that. Give them a review of the orientation and training requirements. Let them know, here's what you need to be position trained. Here's how we're going to help you learn what the position is and how we're going to support you along the way. Don't insist on an answer immediately. Tell them, you know what, I don't need an answer today. I want you to think about it. And then make sure you follow up right away with a thank you for, you know, even considering it and letting us talk to you. And then give them a few days and say, hey, you know, have you thought about it? And they might have some new questions for you. At that point, the follow-up could be by email or phone, but really in person is the best way. That's when people are usually more willing. What if you get one of these? What if you ask your unit and you're asking parents we need some help and we need some new leaders. How have you guys handled it? When no one's volunteering to step up, what do you think? What do you think works? Nobody knows. Bueller. All right, I get my own meme right back at me. So one of the things that works pretty well is having a parents' night, where you take the scouts to do a really fun activity that they've been looking forward to. So they're 100% going to be there with their parent because they don't want to miss out on the fun activity. And then you pull the parents into another room and you can do the many hands or many hats demonstration. So basically you either take cutouts of your hand or you take paper party hats and you write positions on them. And then you have all your adult leaders stand up and you start passing out the hands to the adults or the hats to the adults that do those positions. Usually you will have someone in your committee or your pack who is taking most of those hats or hands. And when the parents really start to see that a lot of the work is being done on 1 or 2 people, it gets them to start thinking. And you can very politely say, you know, it takes a group to make this work, and it takes many hands to make light work, and lay them out and say, here are the hats or the hands that I need to lay down, and I need help picking them up. And if you put them out, often you'll have parents who you might not have thought of come and take those hats or those hands and say, you know, I'm interested in helping in this. Could you tell me more about this position? You may not have anybody, but at least they're thinking about it. And then you can say, hey, we still have these positions available. And generally, you'll have someone step up with it. If you still are having trouble and don't have enough leaders for your unit, this is the point where you need to talk to your commissioner and bring your commissioner in. And they might have some experience or some ideas or some resources that you hadn't thought of to help your pack out. And if you're not sure, again, with your commissioner, you can contact Ez or I, and we're happy to hook you up or help you ourselves. Finally, say you did get some new parents or some new positions members. You need to not just drop it all on them. Assist with their training and their onboarding. So help them navigate the system. Help them navigate Scoutbook if it's new to them. Help them understand what trainings they need to be considered position trained. And then check in with them. Make sure they're handling it okay. Understand that they may do things differently than you're used to, and that's okay. As long as they're getting things done within BSA guidelines, let them try something new, and resist the urge to micromanage them. That's probably, think about it yourself. If you've got new ideas and you're excited to try them and someone's telling you you have to do it the old way, that's pretty frustrating. So let them go, give them guidance, but let them do it how they want to do it. And finally, just like with the youth, we recognize and reward our leaders for a job well done. So there are all kinds of cool adult awards and knots, including for training. for being position trained. Recognize and reward your adults for a job well done. It is just as important as the kids. And finally, one last thing, create a culture of growth and opportunities to serve in your unit. In the PAC committee guidebook, it says no one, including the PAC committee chair, automatically retains the same position beyond the 1-year life of the charter. So make sure everybody in your PAC understands this, that there is room for growth, there's room for change. No one there is stuck there forever in a position, and we want to encourage our adults to grow and move around and learn new things just as much as we want to encourage growth in our scouts. And if you set that up from the beginning, it becomes easier down the road to make some changes in your structure. And that is what I have for that. Did anyone have any questions about any of that? We've got a very quiet group this evening. No? All right. Then with that, we're going to go to our breakout. And no, actually, yes. I apologize. Yes, we're going to go to our Cub breakout. And tonight we have Erica Dorfler, and she is going to speak to you all about behavior and discipline in your pack. And I'm going to hand it over to her.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Dorfler.
Erica, you got muted.
Erica, I think your audio stopped. You know what?
Morris.
Can you turn off your video and just have your voice, and I think your internet will work. There you go.
Okay. All right. I'll start again. I'm Erica Dorfler, and I am a 2nd grade teacher at Nettle Creek. This is my 4th year with PAC 480. My son started as a lion, and when he turned into a tiger, I was asked to become the den leader, which I jumped in full force. I was asked as a lion also to help out once in a great while, and thought it was enjoyable. So as with my teacher background, I have a couple of things that I do each den night, and also with the pack. We started out with 5 scouts, and now I'm up to 11 in my den. I have 4 different schools that my scouts come from, so that is also a plus. Those scouts that are in class together, I have been able to separate them when we're in group, even if it's at the table or doing a physical activity. I make sure that they are separated from their friends, just because they feed off of each other, and
Oh, we lost your audio again, Erica.
all the scouts seem to just like come to my table. And so I always have either like a word search or a puzzle coloring sheet. We've done paper airplanes or the little mini autograph books we did last year. It seemed that the littles, the tigers and lions, liked to come and do. I always have extra because they're always asking, Miss Erica, what are you doing? So I always have those extra to keep them busy so that they're not running around. So it's not just my den that I kind of keep under control. I like try to keep everybody under control. Just if they're there early or if their parents aren't there to pick them up, there's something for them to do. So that keeps everybody under control There's, I mean, and I know we've all done it, the law, the oath on popsicle sticks and blocks that are, have different, you know, the law and the oath on it, laminated puzzles. I always have in my tote, I carry this big tote around with me, just so that those that are learning the Bobcat, they can just take it. And now that we're with COVID, things are a little different, and the hands-on things are a little bit more tricky to do, but soon we'll get back to the old times of helping and sharing and doing all of that. I like to, with my den, I assign like a denner. I like to do it each week for, and then so that they collect any materials, take attendance, they start the oath, the law. We go through that every single den just to keep it fresh in our minds. When we came back from the summer, some of us were a little rusty, but we're back in the groove of it. We are meeting, our pack is meeting. We're at our second park that we have got to go to, and just, you know, wear a mask, be social distance. The scouts are doing great with it. I like to go over my achievements with the boys, and then I like to do some physical activity to keep them engaged. We meet on a Friday, so at 6:30 at night, the boys they're wild, and so to keep them engaged, we'll do some meeting together and then break out and run amok if we need to, because outside we need that. Just like in my classroom, I stress taking turns and sharing. It's very important for them to share their experiences with each other, since we are from 4 different schools and different backgrounds and family values. When I was a Tiger den leader, I gave my scouts a folder, and I'm going to do that again with my bears. They had a folder that they kept everything in. And then if for their behavior at the end of our den meeting or their pack meeting, I had a Rubbermaid container that had stickers in it that I had gotten from like Michael's or Joann Fabrics. They have a whole bunch of camping like sticker books that are like $1 a piece. I love them. They're teachers' favorites. And so the kids, I let them, if they had great behavior during the den meeting, I would let them decorate their folder. So they would get a couple stickers each den meeting. So at the Tiger level, that was huge for them to have that. And then I would give like a special, like for my behavior kids that I have, that I would give them a special sticker they would look forward to if they were respectful during the meeting. Also, even just for those scouts that act out, just going next to them, like standing next to them, they can feel your presence, and the behavior usually stops for that. Resources I like to use are Pinterest, of course, and Teacher Pay Teacher, which is another teacher website where teachers put on information. Some of it is free and some of it costs a little, but there are a lot of Scout things also on there. And then lastly, I like to just remind the boys, if they are acting out, I always say, are you being respectful? Just to get them back in their mindset of, oh, you know, am I doing the right thing? Am I being appropriate? And that's about it, I think. Any questions?
A question came in. Any suggestions on a scout that doesn't want to listen, and even when you try to stand there, they keep on and don't stop most of the meeting?
Okay. I have gotten really close with my scouts, as 5 of them that we've been together since they were a lion. We did have a couple new scouts this year, and some of them are feeding off of each other. And so I just try to redirect them. I don't know, like being the teacher in me, I have fidgets with me, just giving them something to play with, even if it's like a piece of Play-Doh, like keep things of Play-Doh with you, or give them a piece of paper and pencil and have them, you know, jot down or write while they're listening. Most kids that need that extra little hands-on thing, they, even though they're drawing or writing, they're still listening to you. So just maybe give them something hands-on while you're teaching your lesson.
She says thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I
So,
put-
oh, go ahead.
I said I put in the chat the teacherspaceteachers.com website for you. So.
And then these are just like the sticker books. They're only $1 and there's 600 of them. But there's like I have, well, this one's party food, which is right up the Scouts alley. And I just cut them up and then have them in a Rubbermaid container for the Scouts. I mean, for the littlers, you know, the little. And then sometimes I do like at that in between, like if we call it a brain break, would you rather? So you could take your Scouts and say, would you rather go on a roller coaster or go camping? And you could have one set go one way, one set go the other way. So that's just a quick, easy couple minutes in between your activities.
So I know Erica, and I've seen her in action, and there's a reason I asked her to speak tonight. So really, if you need help with something, she's real good. Don't be shy about asking.
And then one more thing, at school we're starting this new book, When Kids Lead, and last year I didn't do our book study, and this one I did it for 3 reasons. One, for school. I have 2 boys at home, and also being a den leader for Scouts. So once I get through this, hopefully I can share with you guys some things, or as I read. As you can see, I have tabs that are set for reading, but hopefully I can share some ideas with you guys too.
Who's the author?
Oh, I think we lost Erica's audio again. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Who's the author of that book?
Todd Nesloney, Nesloney.
Awesome. That sounds like it goes hand in hand with scouting, because that's exactly what we're teaching them to do as they cross over into Scouts BSA. So Erica, how would you handle a scout that's misbehaving out of special needs?
Okay. So I do have, actually I had a friend reach out to me that I went to school with, and they live in a town down the way in Braidwood, and she's tried a couple other groups and nothing fit. And knowing in my background, her son is autistic, and he has become my little helper. But as we know with learning disabilities, they have their little quirks of blurting out or constantly, you know, asking questions or different things like that. So with those, I make sure that I have given them a couple minutes to share. Sometimes I usually let the kids share at the beginning, or like when we're first getting ready, or in between activities. But if they're like really like behavior really acting out, I sometimes will I try to redirect them, and I don't ever, just like in my classroom, call them out in front of everyone because that isn't appropriate, but just redirecting, giving them a job, giving them something to do to take part of being a part of our group. Even if it could be just like we do this at school too, it could be a Post-it note to give to another, another den, and then they come back, him and, send 2 scouts together, say, I need you to give this to Mr. Danik, and then come on back when you're done. Just giving them that little break of getting out of the situation and coming back will hopefully change that behavior.
Thank you. All right, we have a couple more minutes. Is there anything else? Any questions for Erica? It's such a quiet group. Okay, thank you so much, Erica, for joining us this evening, and we appreciate it. You had some great ideas, and I already have that book ordered because it looks great.
I'm ordering it right now.
Aww.
All right.
Erica, could you possibly put in a contact email in the chat so in case someone wants to pick your brain a little bit more on it's specific to their situation,
Totally.
they can go ahead and do that.
Other than that, that is what we have for you this month for October. We do read all the comments in the registration, so thank you. There's some very good information in there, some ideas for next time. We will be talking about recharter, and we have some ideas too for you based on what we saw in the registration. If you need to get a hold of us, you know where to find us. Otherwise, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.